All right, welcome back to another episode of the Legacy Blueprint Podcast. Mini minute takeaway. This week we're talking about dealing with different conversations, relationships, folks that, as type A folks, as type A personalities and running and gunning and always, interpersonal relationships and whether you're a business owner, or whether you're dealing with employees or team members or business partners, or, um, you know, as we're coming into contact with, whether they're vendors or consultants, or look, there's just many, many people in our lives. And I think that as we deal with many, many different types of personalities, we tend to maybe have some run-ins, right? Have some friction in our lives, and whether we like it or not, it's just part of human personality. We have to figure it out. And so, one of the things that I'd like to share with you today is something that a coach recently shared with me, and it's a tool that helped me overcome the the ruminating on, what if. I think we tend to, at least I tend to, and so this helped me, and I hope it helps you. I tend to over ruminate, overthink about, challenging, um, conversations or obstacles with different folks in my life. And, I tend to think about, well, maybe I could have done things better or said something differently, or should I have engaged differently, or, sometimes maybe I overreact or underreact, or I don't react in time, or should I have been more proactive? And, you tend to second guess yourself. And so this coach shared with me something recently about staying in my lane, staying in your lane, right? And she said there's really three lanes that we can stay in. And by the way, a separate coach in separate times always talks about fear or troubles or challenges don't live on paper. And so while doing this exercise, it's always best to take a pen, take a piece of paper, and connect the two. Doing this in our head, the whole concept of this exercise is getting it out of our heads, right? So take a pen, take paper, and write three separate, distinct lanes, right? Columns that we can create here. And these three different columns are as follows. They are control, accept, and influence. Control, accept, and influence. And so in every single conversation, context, relationship, whatever the challenge may be, maybe you just got into a fight with somebody, or maybe there was some animosity, or maybe you're just feeling something and they're not even removed. Maybe it's a past experience, or maybe you're just having a hard time letting go of something that happened a while ago, right? I mean, it could really be any combination of these things, and it's just some weight that you're carrying, right? Um, really look at the three columns. These are the three options that we have. And this doesn't affect the other person necessarily, but how can you create, the emotional state, dictate the next move? You either have these three options, one of these three options. You either have some sort of control. So list the ways that you have the ability to control outcome. List the ways that you have the ability to influence outcome, or list the ways that you have to just accept the outcome. And so, what this coach was saying, and it made so much sense. And by the way, I've used this tool multiple times since. It's helped me really make peace with a lot of relationships, and change a lot of relationships, and how I think about these things. Is really, you can only be in one lane. You're going to find a lot of times when you do this exercise that it really drives home that there's really only one lane. And a lot of times what happens is, when we don't do this exercise, we live in the 30,000 foot view, and maybe, we're just feeling anger. We're like, oh, we're just angry. And then we start to really lay out the lanes, and we decide, well, you know what? Maybe I'm angry, but I have to accept it. There is no way I can control it. There is no way I can influence the situation. And so therefore, I'm left with acceptance. But when I go through this exercise, it allows me to work through that process and realize I have nothing that I can really be angry about, because there's nothing that I can do to control or influence the situation. Flip side of that, there's times where you start to recognize, well, there are some times I can influence the situation. There, I have a little bit of leverage on my side. I have other people, I have other processes. Maybe I have some contractual obligations. Maybe I have some friends of friends. Maybe that person owes me something, or maybe I forgot some things until I started putting pen to paper and thinking through the situation. Maybe I just decide when I do this exercise, I'm not interested in control or influence, and maybe this thing that's been nagging at me really wasn't that important all along, and I'm just gonna accept it the way it is, and I'm gonna move forward. The reality of it is, if this works for you the way it works for me, and I hope it does, what you're going to do is you're really going to release that bad energy, or release that stuckness. Dan Sullivan, wrote many books, and strategic coach. Dan talks about this as what he calls our emotional baggage, or our decision fatigue. Right? It's like this monkey that we carry around on our backs. Releasing that, whatever it looks like for us, allows us to free ourselves and focus on bigger things. And so more often than not, right? So many times we are just being laden down, we're being weighed down by these stress and anxiety and decisions and fatigue of just thinking about stuff that, frankly, folks, it's just way beneath us, right? So hopefully this exercise allows you to unburden yourself, allows you to free your mind a little bit, allows you to open up, and allows you to let in other opportunities. That way you're not spending time focused on things that just aren't serving you. So hope you found this message helpful. If you did, tap in, share this message, send this to other folks, and leave a comment below. Let me know if it's something that's helpful for you, if you want to hear some more content like this. Appreciate you guys checking it out.